Inklings were essentially a given for the next character added to Smash Bros. It's an interesting character design with a unique weapon, along with very successful sales on the Switch. But even though the character was a given, the moveset wasn't. And, whoa, did Sakurai give us a moveset? Splatoon itself has all kinds of interesting weapons, wacky and strong, everything in between. From regular ink shotter to a .96 gal to a bamboozler. Sakurai somehow slotted all that flavor into one character in Smash Ultimate, while still making it a pretty coherent character. Inkling's the first character I've covered that's brand new, so I can't say exactly how great they're going to be. But, from the gameplay I've analyzed and from the pros opinions I've heard, it seems like it's going pretty well for them. And while they don't seem to be broken at this point, they don't seem to be like a character that's going to be anywhere below high tier. As well, they just look fun, and I can't say that about every character. Inklings looks like a pick that you're going to be able to pick up and enjoy yourself playing for a long time. The moves, as I said, are very unique, but chain together really nicely. And while the Inklings might be a bit hard to get down and a bit hard to get into as they are so different, I feel once you get the hang of them, you're going to be enjoying yourself for a long time. We still don't know everything about Inkling, and if you want, subscribe for future videos as I'll be giving updated information on them, and of course every other character in Smash Ultimate to boot, along with some more advanced tips on Inkling as the game comes out, or on other characters whose names you comment down below. Anyways, with the new character, I'm going to cover the most interesting and seemingly powerful moves in their moveset, as they don't necessarily have any changes from the previous game because they weren't in the last game, but I do want to cover the things that you should mainly be looking forward to in them. Now, for Inkling, the main thing about Inkling is that they were given a gimmick. A lot of their regular moves at this point just seem kind of okay, like a Diddy Kong with a little bit less abusive hitboxes, and their combo potential seems pretty powerful, again somewhat like Wolf. They're quite speedy, and they're also kind of hard to combo because of their small size, but again, the thing that's special about them is their gimmick, their ink. Now, normally in the past, I haven't liked gimmick fighters way too much. Lots of them in Smash, like Lucario, are kind of counterintuitive. Again, as Lucario for an example, as the opponent, damages you, Lucario gets stronger, so they need to hit you, but at the same time, they need to not hit you because they're just making Lucario stronger. It really doesn't make any sense. Inkling, on the other hand, has a gimmick that actually makes a lot of sense, plays really well, and is extremely powerful. And that is, of course, their ink. And their ink goes kind of like this. So you have a certain amount of ink that you can utilize at the start of every single match, which is this container. That can be refilled by holding the shield button and then holding B. Now you can use this ink on different special moves to ink your opponents, power up your smash attacks, or get ink on the stage, which actually slows down the movement of your enemies, which I think is pretty cool. So that's kind of a gauge that'll stop you from spamming the ink all the time. But what does it actually do when it's on the enemy? Well, so far it seems that it makes the Inkling does around 1.8 times more damage on all their attacks, while also increasing knockback on their smashes and some of their other abilities as well. It seems kind of ridiculous. From here, you can use that boost in your combos and make them just deal some absolutely insane percent, and I cannot wait to see this in actual competitive matches instead of, just a lot of friendlies. Now, it should be noted that without ink on your enemies, your combos won't deal that much damage, and a lot of the attacks from the Inklings are just kind of, again, okay. But with ink on them, the Inkling might be one of the most damaging fighters in the entire game. So that's kind of how the Inklings moves work mechanically, but how will you use these and their gimmick in an actual fight? Well, I believe that there are two main things you want to be focusing on as an Inkling player. A, far range spacing to get ink on your opponent pretty safely, and then B, close range combat to get off high damage combos and finish off the opponent early with your pretty close range kill moves. To part A, Inkling has some pretty good far range projectiles. They have their neutral B, which does quite easy chip damage and sprays a ton of ink on the opponent, but it's got to be used from very far away because otherwise it's pretty punishable. And then of course as well, they have their down B, the Ink Bomb, which can be held and thrown extremely fast, similarly to Snake, or they can just throw it immediately in a pretty good angle and get a lot of damage from far away like that. And while they don't have any moves like a Villager Slingshot or even a Mii Gunner Forward Air, these two will tack on a good amount of damage while also getting a lot of freaking ink on the opponent really safely. Additionally, I need to mention that you can utilize your speed twofold with this character. You can use it to keep running away, giving yourself extra time to charge up your ink and to spam your projectiles and to keep annoying them like that. But then when you're ready, when you have the ink on them, you can use that same speed to transfer into part B, the attack. Speaking of part B, here Inkling will essentially act as a berserker type character, which I have honestly wanted in Smash literally forever. Now, at this point, you want to run in and get as much damage as you possibly can while the opponents are inked, aka before your time runs out as a, character that does a ton of damage. At this point, it seems like Inklings will probably want to try to get in as much as they possibly can before the ink runs out, or aka before your time runs out. Here you should be using a ton of fairs, back airs, up tilts, and down tilts to get in with really fast combo starting moves. You should try to get in and stay in until either the enemy's knocked off the stage or their ink runs out, in which that case, you should probably just back up, start getting some more ink on them, and then rinse repeat. Now, the thing that I love about these characters in this situation is that if the opponent is inked, even if you just keep trading attacks, in the end, you're going to be dealing more damage to them, and you're going to be primed up at this point to essentially just destroy your opponent. So get in there. But of course, don't be way too predictable. And that's kind of how I see Inklings playing. Now, of course, you still need to do the classic spacing that every Smash character has to do, the classic mind games, get your reads, and not get predictable, and, not use the strategy every single second. But I think this is basically how they were designed to play, which personally I think creates one of the most unique Smash fighters in the entire game. And while the main moveset is pretty similar to a lot of other characters, this gimmick part of their kit is something that I think is honestly really awesome. So how are you going to actually practice Inkling at this point? And the most obvious thing is that you can't really practice them until the game comes out. They just simply haven't existed yet. But there are some characters and some drills that can help you out a little bit getting used to the Inklings and kind of getting ready for them. First off, I think practicing Wolf's combo game in Brawler PM will actually give you a little bit of a feeling about how Inklings are going to work. And while they definitely aren't the same, they do have a lot of somewhat similar moves. And as well, I'd recommend to give Diddy Kong a bit of a try in Smash 4, because it might be smart to just kind of get used to how his fair works and how his dare works, because they essentially play the same, along with, a pretty similar upper on both these characters. And that'll kind of give you a very basic feel about how the character might work. Now, if you're looking for tech skill that you want to practice right now, I'm mainly going to say practice B reversing on the Inklings for their down B and their neutral B. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm going to try to link a guide down below, but you can find them pretty easily. Now, this can make so you can change your direction mid-air at any time and utilize your special moves to ink the opponent while staying in the air and while, changing your course a lot, making it a lot harder for them to hit you and letting yourself regularly expunge your ink. Overall, something you should definitely try to learn. Of course, the final thing I'm going to say for you guys is to look up Inkling gameplay and see how he/she plays. Now, be prepared to see a lot of terrible Inkling players, as the majority of the players that we've seen are casuals and, of course, are from the first event, so yeah. But even by watching some bad gameplay, you're still able to pick apart, certain things about their kit, certain things about their moveset, and kind of theory craft how you're going to be using those abilities when the game finally comes out. It is a bit frustrating to do this, but something that I recommend for every character, and especially for Inklings, is you can't look at them in previous games or in previous competitive matches like you could with, Ryu in Smash 4, for example. And honestly, this is probably one of the best ways for you to grow your game knowledge on this character, and I definitely recommend that. And there you go. These are all the reasons why you should main Inkling. Now, if you have a certain character you want me to cover next, comment, hashtag the character name, why you should main. And then hit that subscribe button to see, the guide when it finally comes out. And if not, comment why you want to main Inkling and what your favorite parts of his/her moveset are. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button or click on the screen for a playlist on other Smash Ultimate videos, and specifically a video on why you should main Snake. As always though guys, thank you all for watching and have a wonderful day.